And then we slide a board in here.
Like a channel.
Well, it's not going to channel because it's not open. But it's going to make it more rigid, right? Because we can't wiggle over here. Can't move this way because it's like a wall, right? And if we kind of, do our squiggling up and down, it's going to stop that. And it's going to stop any movement this way. It makes it a little more rigid. Right? It's like this wall. So having cholesterol imparts some rigidity. Except sometimes it makes things more fluid. It's a really weird effect. Cholesterol has this really weird effect. On one end, it can make a membrane more rigid, and on the other end, it can make it a little more fluid. How does that happen? Well, it depends on the amount of cholesterol. Right? So if we have a little bit of cholesterol, it's keeping the membranes from moving all around. Right? It's making a little wall there, so it provides a little bit of rigidity. You don't have any up and down movement, squishing, rigid. Preventing movement laterally, right? Do that. But what else is it doing? So if I put a wall here, well, Rachel can't now interact with Matt, right? There's no more van der Waals, there's no hydrogen bonding between you guys, nothing, because I got a wall here, right? So it's also going to interrupt some of those intermolecular interactions, which is how it can increase fluidity, right? So it's kind of on either end of the spectrum. It's really weird. I don't have it characterized really well. Okay. So it ends up doing both. All right, where is cholesterol a bad thing? What has to do with that transport, right? So we have HDL and LDL, high density lipoprotein and low density lipoprotein. And one of them transports lots of lipids, including cholesterol, that's the high density. And it takes them from the liver or wherever our body's making it through the bloodstream into the body. The HDL takes it to cells. The LDL is the one getting rid of it. It's the trash removal. Okay, we've used it up, we've got too much, taking it, getting rid of it. Unfortunately, the LDLs don't carry a whole lot. Right? The HDLs are the ones that tend to get stuck. Right? So we talk about clogged arteries, it's because the HDLs start to get stuck. Sometimes they leave off some of their lipids. Sometimes they get stuck by themselves. There's the bad ones. The ones that we don't want a lot of. All right. And so the names HDL and LDL is just the amount of lipid they have in them. Okay. Steroids can also be hormones, yes.
How did you define the LDL?
Low density lipoprotein. H is high. Low density. And I'm pretty sure I'm remembering correctly that the low density is the one that gets rid of lipids, which is the one we want more of. I'm getting some confirmation of it. Good. And the high density is the one that takes it to the cell, doesn't always deliver it to the cell, sometimes it drops it off, gums it up, gets stuck. That's the one that clogs our arteries. Okay, so we need some. We keep that low, and try and increase the LDL. All right. But steroids do more than just sit in your membranes, right? They can be made into hormones, a variety of different hormones, oxidations, add carbons, remove carbons, things like that. And then they get turned into bile acids. There's some oxidation to make it more polar, more antipathic, so it forms more micelles to make them into bile acids. What do bile acids do? Where do we find bile acids? What is bile? Other than a person who's really angry and spewing nastiness out of their mouth.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of bile or they're releasing the bile. They help the body excrete them. Right? By themselves, they're just a molecule, and enzymes do most of the work. Where do we find our bile?
The gallbladder?
Gallbladder releases them. And they're part of the digestive system, particularly on the excrement side of it. Okay? So when the cholesterol gets oxidized, it becomes more polar in the water soluble, helps to get rid of things, but it's still very hydrocarbon, so it can still bind with or form micelles with a lot of lipids. Help remove them. Okay. I had a friend in medical school say they were kind of like the detergent for our intestines and whatnot. And she got really gross, and I stopped listening. Doctors do gross things. Dissect. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Right. So the lipid proteins are big balls that have lipids and cholesterol and proteins in them, right? And then the HDL and LDL is how much lipid, and part of that lipid is cholesterol. Okay. So you can look that up and read all that in more detail. Okay, this is making bile acid, so it gives our cholesterol. You can see it gets oxidized. We get more oxygen, more polar stuff to make it more water soluble. Okay. That's what you're getting. And okay. All right. All right. So most of your test is on what?
Chapter 4. 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
3 and 4.
3 and 4. A little bit out of 2. I think I put on the hints that the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, so we'll be able to use that. Mostly 3 and 4. Lipids is, what do they do? What do they look like? Can you pick one out of a crowd? Well, we spent a day and a half on them, so they're not. That will be reflected in the exam.
Oh, fine.
All right. You're done. Go. Leave.